Welcome back to the program. In a past episode of First Issues, our guest, Managing Director and Financial Planner at SCI Wealth James Fern, spoke about a concept called Pay Yourself First, where simply, before you could do anything with your income after tax, you set aside some of the money so that you may use it in the distant future, perhaps as a retiree. On this episode, we talked to James about saying no to bad debt. What makes some debts bad? James, thank you so much for coming on First Issues. We're continuing our conversation on the 8 rules for financial success. Last time we were talking about paying yourself first. Today we're talking about saying no to bad debt. Let us start first by understanding what is debt and what bad debt looks like.
Most people think they get what debt is. Yeah, but let's have a look at it. Debt is taking some money from your future self and giving it to your current self. And the lender, the bank or the microlender or the Mazzello scheme, is then using interest to facilitate that. So you are paying you. Your future self is paying your current self. Your current self is making your future self poorer by going into debt, and the lender is extracting some interest along the way. All right, so that's basically what debt is. Now, if you're going to make your future self poorer by going into debt, you better make sure that the thing that you're buying lasts for your future self and grows in value. That's the definition of an investment. If you invest in something, you either expect it to go up in value or to earn you an income. Yeah. Now, so bad debt is where you borrow money from your future self, you make your future self poorer in order to buy something that goes down in value and might not even be around for your future self. So stop using debt to buy furniture, for example. Stop using debt to buy a cell phone. Yeah? Stop using debt to buy things that make your future self doubly poor. Your future self is poor because of the interest it needs to pay, and because the thing you've bought is not worth as much in the future.
You know, life happens. Sometimes life will happen, and you're going to be forced to get into bad debt. What would you say those circumstances are that would warrant that somebody goes into bad debt, and how would they manage that kind of debt?
People go into bad debt because they've forgotten rule 1. Rule 1, pay yourself first. If you have, as soon as you've received money, saved that money, and you've set yourself up an emergency fund, you can borrow from yourself. Yeah? And okay, if it's then a very, very large problem that you've had to go into debt for, then perhaps you need some help, some counselling to get you out of that. But in my 23 years of experience here, most people who are in bad debt are in it just because of lifestyle creep, because they've started spending outside of their income. They've lived outside their means. And they've taken, in the past, they've taken money from their current person. So their current self is still paying for the things that their past self has already consumed. So stop it. Live within your means. As we said, there are always some people who are earning slightly less than you. They're happy with their lifestyle. You should be happy with yours and put away a little bit towards the future. Live within your means. If you don't do that, no matter how much you earn, if you carry on making your future self poorer, at some point it will catch up with you. So, getting out of debt is really difficult. There are plenty of resources that people can use to help them with that. But the easiest thing is don't go into it in the first place. If you're a young graduate, you're coming out of UB, yeah, this is the priority rule for you, because everybody's trying to get you to spend money. And yet, you're at the start of your career. You don't have any money. So they're eager to thrust debt upon you.
We've defined debt in this instance as bad.
But that operative word has an antonym as well. So what is good debt?
Okay.
And when do you get good debt?
Here's something that we will argue with various people. Yeah? But I have a very, very simple definition of good debt. There's only one good debt. And that is the money you borrow to buy the house that puts a roof over the heads of your family. That's it. That mortgage debt is the only good debt. Why? Because repaying it replaces the rent that you would normally be paying. Yeah? Because if you didn't own that property, you'd have to be renting something from somebody. Now, there are people who say, you could buy any appreciating asset with your good debt. Be careful. First of all, make a plan to own your own house.
We return next time with our guest, who will, on a subsequent episode, talk about owning your vehicle.